Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody today? I am still tired. I don't even know what time I went to bed last night. I just fell asleep watching TV. It was early. Good morning, Judy. Good morning, Jen. How is everybody? Hello, replay crew. Hello, my lurkers. It's so good to have you all here this morning. Let's see what Judy has for us today. Judy, it's cold. Is it cold in Ohio this morning? It is still hot in Florida. I don't know how hot, but it's hot. The downfall of Dan Broderick's law firm was a result of legal battles and professional repercussions. What was once a successful practice was in trouble at the time of Dan's death. From malpractice lawsuits to disciplinary actions and regulatory scrutiny, the firm was investigated on multiple issues, including allegations of misconduct and negligence. Wow. Wonder what's up with that. Huh. What? I wonder if that had been going on all along, or if it was just like the stress and everything that was going, like he was under from Betty. Well, but he had partners and stuff, so was it his partners? Or was it him? Like, was he shady? That's interesting. $46 degrees. Wow. That's like winter in Florida. Man. Okay. So we were on Kim's testimony, and we had just got done listening to the tape of Danny talking to Betty about her using the bad language. And he kept telling her, Mom, if you quit using bad words, we can come live with you. Which was a 10-year-old simplification of what was happening because he didn't understand, which is super sad.
Danny, that occurred sometime in 1987 while you were all living at Cypress. Is that correct?
Yes.
And do you recall how old Danny was at the time?
It would have been 11.
How was it? Can you tell us how it was that the conversation got tape recorded?
My dad tape recorded it. He was in his room when the conversation started, and then he went down and we had a button on our answer machine that could tape the conversation.
So there was an answering machine already on the phone, and you just need to push a button to record conversations on it?
Right.
Obviously, Danny was fairly upset in that conversation.
Yes.
Do you know why your dad didn't stop the conversation?
Well, it wasn't like Danny to act like that. Danny doesn't talk to people like that. So he's obviously very upset, so probably so Danny.
Did your dad ever get into trouble or have problems with your mother when he would stop conversations between her and you kids?
Yes.
Can you Describe that.
Because then he was interfering with our contact with Mom, and she was supposed to be able to contact us and call us. And so then in court, and that would raise problems for him that he was interfering in our contact with my mom.
So if she called and he would prevent conversations.
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
I hadn't even gotten the question out yet.
Well, you got enough I know what it was to rephrase it if you want.
Would your mother be angry if he would in any way interfere with the children talking to her on the phone?
Yes, very angry. In court, and she would go to court, and then that was, and then he wasn't supposed to do that.
Okay. The things that your mother was saying in that conversation that we just heard, the names that she was using to refer to your father, the names she was using to refer to Linda, were those kinds of things unusual for her to say?
No, that's what she called them.
Did she talk that way often?
Yes, that's what she called them all the time.
So as far as her part of that conversation, that was not an unusual way for her to talk or for her to refer to your dad or Linda?
No.
Do you recall when she started referring to them like that?
No, not really. Not specifically.
Was she, as far as you know, was she angry immediately after the separation?
Yes.
And did she continue to be angry ever after?
Yes.
Were there things that she would say to you or to your brothers that would influence how they felt about their father?
Yes.
Can you give us an example?
Well, she really hated Dad, and she wouldn't want us to like him either. So she would say things like, we just weren't supposed to tell her that if anything good about Dad or Linda. We're not supposed to talk about them. And
how would she react if you happened to say something nice about them?
She'd have a fit.
And what do you mean by having a fit?
Well, with me, then she'd probably yell at me or kick me out of her house or hang up on me or whatever. With Danny and Rhett, I don't know if she'd kick them out of the house, but she'd yell at them. And it angry. Like if you're over there and you call them or something like that.
So even if you were over at her house and any of you called your father, she'd get upset about that?
Unless she told us to call them.
Okay. To the boys in particular, did she ever encourage them to use that kind of language with respect to Linda as
Yes.
well? Would she encourage the boys to call Linda a cunt?
Yes, she did.
And did the boys on occasion do that?
Not that I'm aware of. Not to her face.
Okay. Would she say anything to them about whether or not their dad loved them?
She said that he didn't love any of us. He just kept us to aggravate her, and that he didn't really want us, and that he was just going to get married and then dump us all and start a new family.
Did she tell the boys anything about what he would do if he had more children with Linda?
Forget about them. And that was the whole plan. That he was going to get married, have more children, and then forget about all of us.
And these are things that she would say to you and to the boys?
Yes.
Did she ever encourage the boys to run away?
Yes, they did on occasion.
What would she say to them?
Well, when he would come to pick him up, she would say, "Don't go out there. Just hide, and we'll tell him that you're not here." And then he'll leave and just stay here. Don't go with them, or just pick up and leave, or take a stand up for yourself. Don't be such a wimp. Just leave. Come over here.
Do you recall an incident of her encouraging Danny to run away?
Came to pick him up. I was over there, and Danny had disappeared. So we went all around looking for him. It ended up he was up at one of his friends' houses hiding with his bike. And then I believe we got him later that day. I think we went and picked him up later that day. But we looked for him for a while. My mom looked for him too. I mean, I don't know if she knew that he was up at the friend's house. But
Was your dad upset about that?
very upset. Really hurt his feelings. Because he had planned that we were all going to go out to dinner and stuff for Father's Day.
Do you recall her ever refusing to let Danny come over for Mother's Day? Telling him he could just spend Linda's day with Linda?
No.
If you indicated that you weren't basically allowed or free to say anything nice about your dad or Linda in front of your mother. If your mother was angry at you because you said something like that, how did you go about getting her not to be angry anymore?
Well, if you were mad at Dad, then that was good. I mean, not necessarily, okay, if she's mad at you, then you say, oh, well, Dad's really a jerk and I think this. But if you were upset with Dad, you could go talk to Mom and she would cheer you on. I mean, that was good that you were mad at him and that you were seeing things her way.
Were there some specific instances that she got angry at you because you did something, for example, with your dad or with Linda?
Yeah. That's why we haven't gotten along in so long.
Can you give an example?
Well, and they came to my graduation. That was a big deal. And I went out to lunch with Linda and stuff, and if I wore Linda's clothes or anything like that. It's pretty much anything.
When you indicate they came to your graduation, you're talking about high school graduation?
Yes.
Okay, and you invited your dad and Linda to come?
Yes.
And what was your mother's reaction?
She was enraged with me. Because Linda wasn't supposed to be there, I guess. And then Dad said that she followed him around, took pictures of him, and then he left early.
Your mom followed them around at the graduation and took pictures of them?
Yes.
And you indicated for if you went out to lunch with Linda, for example, what was... your mother's reaction?
Usually I didn't tell her. But if she found out, then she was really mad.
Okay. And when you say really mad, what would she do?
Just yell at me and tell me not to come to her house and that she didn't want to see me anymore and stuff like that.
Was there an incident when you had invited her to come over and look at your apartment that you were living in?
Yeah, that was after I moved out. That was like a little over 2 years ago.
Can you describe what happened?
Well, she hadn't seen it yet. I don't know why. And so she called up and said she wanted to come over. Or we ended up getting along, so then we were going to go out to lunch because we hadn't seen each other in a long time. And then, so I cleaned up the apartment and got all ready, and then I called her back like an hour later and said, where are you? Why aren't you coming over? And she said, well, I was on my way driving down the road and I was right by SeaWorld, and then all of a sudden I remember I just hate you and I never want to see you again and I wish you were just dead and you just disgust me. So talk to you later, and then hung up like everything was just dandy. And she called later and never mentioned it again. But what she was mad about was about graduation, which was 3 years earlier.
So what you're saying is that particular day when she called you and told you she decided not to come over and she was angry, she was still angry about graduation that
She
had
said
happened.
she remembered about the graduation deal.
Okay. The phone calls that she would make to your house to talk to you or any of the other kids, were they often upsetting to you all?
Well, it depends on her mood. Sometimes phone calls were like, oh, hi, kids, how are you doing? And how'd your test today go? And stuff like that. And then other times she'd be yelling at us about one thing or another, or I had some of her clothes, or we've done something wrong. It depended.
Okay.
And what's the problem? Her messages weren't, they were occasionally for us, but then they would like switch to Dad.
Okay, we'll talk about the messages in just a second. I'm just talking about the actual phone calls where she would actually talk to the boys or actually talk to you. Would there be instances where they would end up being upset by the end of the conversation?
Yeah, not all the time. But yeah, a lot of conversations. And because a lot of those conversations were about them going over there, and that was a constant problem. So then, forget it. It was just a mess.
Well, let me ask you about the, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's the basic kind of answering machine that takes incoming messages when somebody calls and they can leave a message on the phone. Is that correct?
Yes.
Were there times that your mother would leave messages on the answering machine?
Yes.
Okay, and was that fairly common?
Yes, very common.
Would she leave messages on the answering machine that you would describe as either upsetting or vulgar?
Yes.
Okay. Was that very common?
Yes.
When, would you hear these messages?
Yes.
Okay.
The answer machine was in my room for a lot of the time. And then, because Dad didn't want to hook up my room so that they wouldn't have to hear it. But, yeah, we heard almost, I think we heard all of them.
Okay.
I was the only person, my sister and my.
But you indicated there was a time when your dad just wanted to take it.
Wanted there.
So you basically encouraged him to.
Yeah, I think actually, I just went and found it and put it back anyway.
Okay.
One time, I don't know, I only think that happened once. That's when I put it in my room. But yeah.
More than one phone that came into the house?
Yes, his line and our line.
Well, the line, for example, if you wanted to call the Broderick house and you looked up the Broderick number, Mr. Broderick in the phone book.
Right, that was the main line.
Okay.
And then just in his office in his bedroom, then he had his own line. But not very many people called that at all.
So he had just.
And that's basically all. If it rang, no, actually, it was mostly him because we didn't have double lines. So if he wanted to call us when he was at work or something, then he would call on that line, and we would know that was him. So mostly, he's the only one that called that line, on that line, and his friends, but that wasn't often.
Did your mother have that number?
No.
He didn't want her to have that number.
Right.
But if your friends would call or other people would call to talk to your father, they'd call the main line. Is that correct?
Yes, we weren't allowed to give up that number to anybody.
Okay. Did you ever talk to your mother about not leaving the messages, not leaving vulgar messages like that? Ask her not to do it?
Yes.
Okay. And what would her response be?
Forget it. She'll leave the messages once. because they didn't communicate anymore. So, I mean, that was her way to tell them what she wanted to tell them. And to tell us what she needed to tell us, and that was her way of communicating.
That was what I was going to ask. Were the messages that were vulgar, were they always just directed to your dad, or were they sometimes directed to you kids?
Anybody. They weren't always dad.
So if she was angry at you, she'd call and she'd leave an angry, vulgar message for you.
Right.
And if she was angry at Danny or Rhett or Lee, she'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
If she was angry at your dad, she'd do the same thing.
Right. Or sometimes, I don't even think she called up angry and then she somehow got angry. Because it could start out fine and then she would get angry.
Okay. Now, whose voice was on the answering machine?
Usually mine or my sister's.
I'm sorry?
Usually mine or my sister's.
Okay. So you would leave the message?
Yes.
Was there a period of time when Linda's voice was on the machine?
Yes.
Okay, when was that?
I have no idea.
Okay. Was there, do you know why it was that Linda's voice was on the machine?
One time her voice was on the machine, Lee and I left the song, sign of message, and she put her voice on the machine. Then another time that happened and Dad put his voice on the machine, and then after they got married, her voice was on the machine.
Before they got married, there was just the one time that Linda had her voice on the machine?
That's the only time that I know it was on there. When I was living there, and I lived there until I left for college.
And so the other times when you had your voice on it, or your dad had his voice on it, or Lee had her voice on it, would your mother still leave these same types of messages?
Yes. Belinda's voice wasn't on it that long then.
Okay.
I think they were ordered to get it off anyway.
And I take it that as far as the messages on the answering machine, she didn't just talk that way when she left messages on the machine. She also talked that way when she talked to you all in person.
Yeah.
As far as the words that she would use to refer to your dad, the things that she would say about him.
Yes.
Did she talk about your dad and Linda with sexually explicit terms?
Yes.
Would she do that with the boys?
Yes.
Did you ever talk to
She did
her?
that with the boys more than with me.
More with the boys than with you?
Yeah.
Did you ever talk to her about not doing that? That she shouldn't?
Yeah, but I mean, she wasn't going to listen to me.
Okay. Did you ever talk to her about the fact that it was upsetting to the boys?
Yes. Well, obviously. I mean, they talked to her about it, and she wouldn't stop doing it.
Okay. Did you ever erase any of the messages yourself so that others in the family wouldn't hear them?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you do
Whenever I would get them, I would erase them.
that? So a lot
Because
of
it caused so many problems. Then Dad would be all in uproar, then he would take the phone out, and then we couldn't talk on the phone, and then Danny and Rhett would be all upset, and then they wouldn't be able to go over for the weekend, and then they'd all have to go to court and fight. So if you just erased them, then no one had to know about it at all. And then maybe if there wasn't such a commotion, then maybe she just would stop doing it.
Did that ever happen?
No.
Did your mother often want to talk to your dad? Would she try to talk to him?
Yes.
And were there times when he would talk with her?
Yes.
And what
Not very many. I mean, he didn't take all of her calls.
would happen when he would ultimately take a call and talk with her?
It lasted about 3 minutes.
Why? What would happen?
She'd start yelling. And then he'd say, I'm not going to listen to this.
Wait,
Bye.
who would start yelling?
Mom. And then
Your Honor, lack of personal knowledge.
Sustained lay foundation for it.
Did you actually hear some of these conversations yourself?
yes, when I'd be at Mom's house or at Dad's house.
Okay.
Because when I'd be at Mom's house, Mom wanted to talk to him, so I'd call Dad, and then Dad would get on the phone, and then the conversation would be over in 3 minutes.
So she would sometimes use you or ask you to call him so that she could talk to him?
Yes.
Okay, and you'd call your dad and you'd say, Dad, Mom wants to talk to you?
Right.
And then when he'd get on the phone, what would happen?
Then she would start yelling at him about whatever it was that she wanted to talk to him about. And then he said, I'm not going to listen to this, and then he'd hang out.
Okay. Was your dad afraid of your mother?
Yes.
Afraid of what she might do?
Yes.
Did he put in a security system, as far as you know, in his house?
Yes, when we moved in, there was a system, and I think then he got it updated. So there was a security system.
And how about gates up in the front of the house?
Yes, that was after the car incident.
After your mother drove the car through the front door?
Right.
Then he put gates up on the outside.
And you had to know an access code so you could get in.
Okay. Were there ever times that you knew of that he hired security guards?
At his wedding. Oh, yeah. Actually, he hired security guards a lot. When he would go to town or when there was something going on, then they would park down the street and spy on our house all night.
Okay. And you also indicated at his wedding he hired security
Yeah.
guards? Did your mother ever threaten to kill your dad?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, she would say it so that you really didn't believe her, though. She'd like say, well, I'm going to kill the son of a bitch. That kind of stuff. And then, but I never really took her seriously. She didn't really elaborate on it, like exactly when she was going to do this or how she was going to do this. But she said that she was going to kill him. And then she'd also just say things like that she wished he would just die, and that she wasn't going to kill him, but she really wanted him gone.
Did she ever
The
say
world.
anything about shooting him?
Yes.
What did she say?
She said she was going to shoot him. That was around the wedding time. And she said she was going to shoot him. And she was going to shoot him in the head. And then she said some number, but I don't remember what the number was. It's like, I'm going to shoot him so many times in the head.
Okay. And that was sometime close to when the wedding was?
Yes.
Did she ever say anything about how other people would react if she killed him?
That the world would be a better place. That everyone would thank her and that everything would be just wonderful then.
I'm sorry, you talk fast and I can't
I'm
hear.
sorry, that everything would be just wonderful then.
That the world would thank her, is that what you said?
That the world would be a better place and everybody would thank her.
Did you ever talk to her about, if you do something like that, you go to jail, Mom, or anything like that?
I never really sat down and had the conversation like, okay, so let's think about what's going to happen if you do this. But, I mean, like, if she'd say, it's like, yeah, sure, Mom. Spend the rest of it. Now I want to believe what's happening to me, and it's on and on about that.
Did she ever make threats to kill your dad in front of the boys or to the boys?
Yes.
She would say the same things to
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, in front of me. I don't know what else she said to them when I wasn't around, but in front of me, she'd say the same things, just that she was going to kill him.
In front of you and in front of the boys,
Right.
is that what you're saying? Okay. Were there any threats that she made in relation to an insurance policy or money? What would happen with the money after she killed him?
That we'd all be rich because Dad had this new insurance policy. That was. Well, I don't know exactly when that was. That was after he got this insurance policy, and then she said that after.
What did she say?
We'll all be rich and we'll have a wonderful life. We can all live together and we'll have all this money.
If she killed him?
Yes.
Okay. So it was in relation to saying, if I kill him, we'll all be rich and we'll all have a wonderful life.
Right.
Did she talk about killing Linda?
No. No, I don't think so.
What were her feelings towards Linda?
She hated Linda, but she never really talked about just Linda. So like Dad and Linda. So no, I don't think I ever heard her say that she was going to kill Linda.
But whenever she talked about Linda, it was always in connection with your dad?
Right. Like, what are the two of them doing? And the two of them did this, and the two of them did that.
Was Linda afraid of her?
Yes.
You indicated that she would ask things like, what are the two of them doing? Did she express interest in what was going on in their life?
Very much interest. She wanted to know everything they were doing.
I'm sorry.
She wanted to know everything they were doing.
Okay, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, like they went out to dinner. She wanted to know who they went with, where they went, and if we went on a trip, they wanted to know what we did and who we were with and what we saw, and she just wanted to know everything that went on.
Okay. Was this something that was fairly constant?
Yeah, she always wanted to know everything that went on.
About Dan and Linda?
Yes, alone and with us.
Okay. Did your mother she writes a lot, is that correct? Does a lot of writing of letters, writing on...
She had a diary that she kept.
Your Honor, may I have marked as People's Exhibit 41? And one sheet of paper with some handwriting on it.
You can sell art. Show it, Mr. Rose. Certainly.
If you could take a look at this sheet that's dated January 7th, 1988, People's Exhibit 41. Do you recognize the handwriting there?
Yes, it's Mom's.
That's your mother's handwriting? Your Honor, we have also agreed to a stipulation at this point, defense counsel and I, that People's Exhibit 41 is a true and correct copy of an original that is in the defendant's diary. The original is still in her diary, and this is a copy.
That is correct.
So stipulate.
And may I read that at this point to the jury, Your
All
Honor?
right, accept the stipulation. Go ahead.
It hasn't been entered into evidence yet.
I would offer it into evidence then.
Your Honor, I think we have a lot more testimony about the rest of the diary coming in with it then.
Can we approach sidebar?
Why is it necessary to read it at this time?
Well, because I want to ask Ms. Broderick some questions about it.
Look at it and ask your questions.
Well, that doesn't make sense unless the jury knows what we're talking about.
I think you're a good enough lawyer to frame a question so it makes sense.
I was glad. Can I approach sidebar again?
Sure.
Okay, I may read this page of the diary, is that correct, Your Honor?
Yes, People's 41 is received in evidence.
There is no better reason in the world for someone to kill than to protect their home, possessions, and family from attack and destruction. You have attacked and destroyed me, my home, my possessions, and my family. You continue to repeatedly attack and steal and destroy. You are the sickest person alive. A law degree does not give you license to kill and destroy, nor does it give you immunity from punishment. No one will mourn you. That's something that your mother wrote, is that correct?
Yes.
Was your father attacking and destroying you and your possessions and your family?
Me?
Yes.
No.
Was he attacking and destroying your mother's possessions or person?
No.
Let me ask you a little bit about your father and your observations of how your father treated you and treated the kids. Not what other people had to say, but what you observed yourself. How did your father treat you?
He treated us really well. He wasn't too good at the fathering stuff at first. But then he got better, and he didn't really know how to show us emotions and stuff. He wasn't perfect, but he was a really good dad, and he tried hard.
How did he treat the boys, Danny and Rhett?
Wow, really well. I think they got along great.
Did he love them?
Yes, very much. It was hard because, I mean, it's always hard, I guess, when parents get divorced because there's always a tug of war back and forth, but it's particularly hard in our circumstance. And, but as far, I mean, as much as I could tell, they got along great, and I know Dad adored them.
Did he love your sister Lee?
Yes.
Did you have any question in your mind that he loved you?
No.
Was he interested in the things that you all were doing?
Yes, he was. Very interested in school. Very interested in school.
How did he show his interest in school?
With always asking about our homework and helping us with our homework and waiting by the door for our report cards to come and talking to our teachers, and he's very interested in how our performance in school.
Was he, as a matter of course, was he home in the evening? Did he come home for dinner?
Yes. Came home at around 6:30.
And would you have dinner as a family, I mean the kids and your father?
Yes.
And then what would happen after dinner?
Then we would go do our homework, and Dad would do his work, and then when we were done, we'd all, I guess what normal people do, nothing. We just ate dinner, and then we all did our stuff.
Did your dad help the boys with their homework if they needed it, type stuff?
Yeah.
Was, what kind of disciplinarian would you say he was?
He was strict. Very strict. I mean, if we had problems, that's why we had problems, because he was really strict. And he didn't know really what to do with a teenage girl. So, I mean, while all my friends would go to slumber parties, I'm not allowed to go, and he was just very strict. But it was, I mean, you could work with them if it was something reasonable, but not slumber parties.
Okay. Did he have like a special curfew that he wanted you home?
Yeah, we had to be home at 11 and then midnight and then 1. It was changed as we grew up. And, I mean, and then on school nights we were allowed to go out, and we had to be off the phone by a certain time. For a while we had phone hours. We had to be on the phone. We could only be on the phone during those hours. And
what about physically? Would he ever beat you or Lee or the boys when he'd get angry?
no.
He never beat you guys up?
No. No, when he would get mad. One time, Lee and I were arguing, and he said, if you're going to act like babies, I'll treat you like babies. And then he put us over his knee and spanked us. That's the only time that I can remember that he hit me. And he spanked me other times when I was younger, but I mean, like, the last 10 years.
How about the boys? How did he discipline the boys if they were?
He spanked them. I've seen him do that, but I never saw him beat them up or hurt them or anything.
Was there ever a situation that you thought the spanking was inappropriate, for example?
No. I mean, it wasn't just, there was reasons where he was disciplining them. But one time, they were fighting, and he pulled them apart, and he like pulled Danny onto the bed, and then Rhett on the other side, and then, I mean, that they were scared they were going to get yelled at. But that's the only time I saw him that he was more than spanking them.
Were you or Danny or Rhett or Lee, were you afraid of your dad?
Because of his temper? No.
Yeah, just generally afraid, like you had to walk around on pins and needles when you were around him?
No. No, I got in trouble a lot then. I was bad stage, I guess, and got in trouble a lot, but I didn't want him to yell at me, but I wasn't afraid he was going to punch me or anything.
You just didn't want to get into trouble?
Right.
And I'm assuming you indicated as a teenager you had some disagreements with your dad.
Yes.
Okay. What was there a difference between, for example, at your dad's house that there were rules and you had to do your homework and that kind of stuff? Was there a difference between that and how it was over at your mother's house?
Well, for me, I was visiting at Mom's house, so then we'd like go out to lunch and shopping and do fun stuff. So you didn't have to stay and do all the normal routine stuff you do. That was different. Well, we didn't live there, so she didn't have rules for us, but Mom wasn't nearly as strict as Dad.
How about if you would have a disagreement with your dad, would it be something that lasted forever, or would you patch it up within a period of time?
No, he'd take me in his office and then tell me what he thought and give me his little lecture, and then he'd be mad for a while, but it was over the next day.
Were the boys dressed in tatters when they lived with your dad?
No.
What's this about that the boys were dressed with holes in their shoes and?
They might have had holes in their shoes from normal wear and tear. I don't know. I didn't look at those shoes. They always looked fine to me.
When they got up to go to school, did they wear what?
They were clean and brushed their teeth and combed their hair and put on normal. You couldn't really wear tatters to our school. You had to wear collared shirts. You can't wear t-shirts. Girls had to wear skirts. So, no, I mean, they weren't dressed in tatters. I never noticed it.
Okay. What you indicated that your dad sometimes would get angry if he showed his temper. How would he show it?
With us, or
yeah, with anybody. I mean, did he hit people, or did he hit things? Or?
No, he would raise his voice, but he was like very methodical. Like, okay, this is what I'm mad about. Now this is what we're going to do about it. And I mean, he didn't fly off the handle. He knew what he was talking about. He'd get mad and then sit down and say, "All right, I want to talk to you now," and then he'd yell at me.
Okay.
No, but he didn't yell and scream and carry on.
Your Honor, would this be appropriate time for a break?
Yeah, we'll take our noon recess. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be in recess until 1:30. Please remember the admonition to discuss the case among yourselves. Don't allow anyone else to discuss it with you. Don't form any opinions on it until it's finally submitted to you. See you at 1:30. Have a nice lunch.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just have a few more questions, Ms. Broderick. I recognize that it's difficult to remember specifics of something that was said to you a couple of years ago. Do you recall that you gave an interview only a few days after your father was killed about the conversations that you had with your mother?
Yes.
And would it refresh your recollection, do you think, to see a transcript of that conversation?
Yes.
Your Honor, if I could approach the witness, and I'm referring for counsel's benefit to an interview dated November 9th, transcript page 4.
Certainly.
If you could take a look at the first paragraph there and just read it to yourself. Does that help refresh your recollection about what your mother said to you in that first conversation the morning of November the 5th? Yes. Okay. Could you tell us what she said?
Your Honor, I'd ask that if she has, she's now reading it, here's a document.
Do you have to read from the documents, or do you remember after them?
I still don't remember it word for word. One line of it.
I don't want to tell us the one I remember without looking at the document.
What I remember it now is that she said, I had no choice, I had to do it, I couldn't let him win.
Can you remember that without looking at the document?
Right.
Were there some other things said that you'd have to look at the document to remember?
Well,
It's okay if you do, just let me know.
well, exactly like that. My choice was to kill them or kill myself. Yeah, that I'd have to look at the document to remember.
Do you want her to keep going, Ms. Wells?
No, that's okay. What you indicated the part that you do remember. Is it fair to say that your recollection obviously was better on November 9th when you gave that interview?
Yes.
Okay. And when you gave that interview, were you telling the truth about what your mother had said?
Yes.
And that interview was tape recorded, is that correct?
Right.
Your Honor, if I could, I would simply like to read that line into evidence at this point as past recollection in court.
Your Your Honor, I have an objection as to that. I don't think that's proper.
Sustained.
Maybe I could be heard inside by that.
Well, I thought you already had everything and you wanted. What else do you want?
Well, there was one part of the line she indicated that she couldn't recollect independently at this point.
Let her do the read it in if that's what you want to have
Oh,
done.
okay, that's fine.
If it refreshes her recollection, that she can't remember it without reading it, let her read it and tell you if that's accurate.
Well, Your Honor, I still have an objection as to someone just reading something and saying it's accurate, but I still don't remember it. How would she know it's accurate?
Well, let's see if that's what she says. She couldn't remember it word for word, but my understanding without reading it. But go ahead. Other than what you just told me you remembered, read the rest of it to yourself.
The whole thing? No, just the other one.
First 3 lines.
Okay.
Now, after having read those first 3 lines, do you recall your mother saying that? Just yes or no?
Yes.
So in your opinion, that is accurate?
Yes.
If you don't independently remember it without reading, is that correct?
Right.
Go ahead, read it.
I shot Dad and Linda. The choice, my choice was to kill them or to kill myself. I didn't let him win.
I objection to that speaking. That's the part she said she remembered.
Not the first part of it, I believe. Just the last part.
And then directing your attention to the conversation that you had with your mother from jail a couple of days after November the 5th. Did she any remorse to you for killing Dan and Linda?
Your Honor, objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
Did she say anything to you about that it was an accident or she didn't mean to?
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
Did not ask.
I don't believe that one was overruled.
No, she did not. Did she say anything about it, that she just panicked or if she didn't mean to have it happen?
Your Honor, objection is irrelevant in this appeal.
Sustained on leading.
I have no further questions.
Ma'am, it's fair to say that there was a lot of things that Elisabeth Broderick didn't say during that conversation, isn't it? I mean, she didn't talk about everything, did she?
About
Objection, the question's vague. Obviously, she didn't talk about everything.
Sustained.
How long was the conversation?
maybe about 15 minutes.
Okay. And it was how many days after her arrest?
2, I think.
Okay. And had she gone to court yet?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. Were you aware of her going to court at some point for her first arraignment, weren't you?
Yes.
Okay. And by the time she'd gone to court for the first arraignment, you had already talked to her on the phone, is that correct? This telephone conversation had already taken place?
Yes.
And did you write your mother any notes after the arraignment?
I think, yes, yeah, it's on her birthday. I think that was on her birthday.
That was after this conversation that you had with her in the jail, is that correct?
I think so.
You were very upset with her, as you indicated, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And at that point in time, you had a tremendous amount of dislike for her, isn't that correct? Because of what she had said and her attitude of not being able to comfort you, isn't that correct?
Right after she said that?
Yeah.
Yes, I was upset with her.
Yeah. But that upset left you very quickly?
Well, my mom has a tendency of being upsetting me, and then she was very nice to me the next minute, so it could have left me quickly. I really don't remember.
Well, do you remember writing the letter to her, talking to her about saying you don't know what to say, you love her very much, everything will be okay, telling her about taking care of the children, telling her to have a happy birthday, I will come see you, I was there, you were great. Remember writing her a note such as that?
I remember it because I've seen it since, but I don't remember when I wrote it or anything.
Well, when you said you were great, I was there, you're talking about the arraignment, weren't you?
I don't remember. I don't know when I wrote it. Do you know when I wrote
I
it?
haven't seen this letter. Your Honor, I'm also unclear about when the date of the arraignment was. I'm not sure that that a foundation has been laid by counsel that the arraignment was before this conversation.
Your Honor, she's already testified as to her recollection.
On the day of the arraignment, I checked the court file, that's what you want.
I don't care for it. She indicated that she had the conversation before the arraignment.
This is before the arraignment?
I don't know.
She said her conversation with the client, Mrs. Broderick, was before she saw her in court.
That's true. I'm talking about the foundation for that letter.
Well, I'm assuming, Your Honor, that this was after the arraignment from the contents of the letter.
Well, I haven't seen the letter, so I don't know if that's an assumption to be made or not. The district attorney is objecting, so.
Can we simply have the date of the arraignment if it's for one thing?
Well, the arraignment was on her birthday.
When's her birthday?
7th.
So the arraignment would have been the 7th of November then?
Yes, and I don't know when I talked to her.
Is that good enough, Mr. Irwin, as well? We want to make it final.
That's fine, Your Honor, whatever.
That's fine,
Do you know when I talked to her?
on November the 9th.
Well, then I hadn't talked to her by then.
So it's your information that you would talk to your mother after the arraignment, after you saw her in court.
Your Honor,
I don't know.
I
I
can
was-
indicate for the record, Your Honor, that the interview that Ms. Broderick referred to and looked at was November the 9th. I believe that's already stated as a matter.
That's fine, Your Honor.
All right. The court record shows she was arraigned in San Diego Municipal Felony Arraignment on November 7th, 1989. Did you use a notice of that?
Yes, thank you.
If I can show you that, you can just tell me if you recognize handwriting on it.
You've had that marked as defendant's
This is
exhibit F. Thank you.
Yes, it's mine.
If you remember writing that.
Yes.
They've indicated that prior to 1984, you had been, prior to 1985, you'd been living in a Coral Reef home. Is that correct?
Then we moved to the rental house somewhere around then.
September of '84, you moved into the rental.
Right.
You you left sometime in February, is that right?
Right.
Okay. So prior to that, you were living in Coral Reef, and then sometime after February of '84, you were living in Coral Reef. Is that correct?
Yes.
And showing you what's been marked Defense E for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes, that's Corey.
Okay, and that's the back view of that home? Now, you indicated that where were the boys going to school in 1985 and 1986?
Parker.
And where was Parker located?
That was in Mission Hill.
Okay. And where were the friends that you had and the friends of the boys in 1985, where were they located?
All over the place.
Okay. Well, were most of their friends in La Jolla?
I don't know where their friends were. Mine weren't.
Okay. Were there complaints by the boys about wanting to move back to La Jolla because that's where most of their friends were?
I don't know about their friends. They wanted to move back to La Jolla to be with Mom.
Mr. Early, defendants, he is an 8x10 color photo of the Coral Reef House.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So you don't remember any discussions at all about them talking? Was there any talk about they did not like living in Marsden Hills because there wasn't kids to play with?
I think in our direct street, but a lot of their friends live in Mission Hills, so that would be much closer to them than in La Jolla. So I don't think that was the biggest issue.
There was never, you don't ever remember having any complaints about them having no friends around their homes. When they got out of school, there'd be kids on the block to play with. You don't remember anything such as that?
On the block, yes, but their close friends from school didn't live in La Jolla. They didn't live by us.
Did they ever complain about living in Marsden Hills? At that location?
Yes.
Because they didn't like the location? Or was it just that they complained because they wanted to live with their mother?
They basically wanted to live with Mom.
You indicated that when your mother moved into her house on Calle de Cielo, it was in pretty bad shape, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And she had to put a lot of money into it, didn't she?
Yes.
Did you know why she bought, the home had a number of bedrooms and bathrooms, is that correct?
Yeah.
And as far as you knew, did she buy it to live in it by herself, or did she buy it as a family home?
Objection calls for speculation, right, Kristen?
It's overruled if you know. She ever
A
tell
family
you-
meaning the
She ever
whole
tell you why
family?
she bought it?
Yeah. Did you ever find out why she bought it? Did she buy it because she wanted to live there by herself, or whether she was having to have the family, the children live there?
Probably to have the children live there, too. It's too big for just her.
Now, did she ever talk about the house being torn down?
Yes, she did.
And was there ever any discussion that that's the purpose of buying the house in the first place, was she thought her and your father were going to tear it down and build another house?
Your Honor, I can't object, this is hearsay.
Overruled. Did she ever tell you that?
Her, my father, no. She mentioned she wanted to do that. It was not her and Dad together.
Okay. Now, you've indicated in 1985, it wasn't. You indicated that where the boys went to school, they were supposed to, there was a very strict dress code, is that correct?
Pretty strict. Skirts and you had to wear collars on your shirts.
And the boys had to wear collars.
Right.
Were you aware of the boys being sent home from school because they were wearing t-shirts on rainy days with no jackets or overshirts?
No, I did not hear about that at the time.
Did you hear about it later?
At the last trial, I heard about that.
This wasn't something your father discussed with you, what people or the teachers that, in some of your discussions with your father about what the teachers or principals, what the people at the school had said about that?
Said about the boys' dress
Boys
code?
dressing?
No.
Okay. You indicated that the boys like to dress in old shoes, is that correct?
No, I didn't indicate that.
Okay. Did the boys go to school in fairly new shoes?
I don't know.
I never looked at their shoes really. They didn't have new shoes every month. I don't know. I really don't know what kind of shoes they were.
Well, you indicated that your father was, made sure that they went to school dressed appropriately.
I said I saw them. They always looked appropriate to me.
Okay.
They dressed themselves. I don't know what the shoes looked like.
Well, in Francis Parker, it wouldn't be appropriate to go with shoes that have holes where your feet touch the ground, would it? I mean, that's not what you would call appropriate for that type of school?
No.
Okay. Now, looking at this calendar, and Your Honor, I've marked a line calendar marked defendants G that appears to be the dates of January through June of 1985. What was the date that you moved out of that you were taken out of the home at La Jolla where your mother was living, the rental home, to your father's?
The day before Easter.
Okay. And assuming that that was on April 6th, that was on April 6th of 1985?
I guess. If that was the day before Easter.
Okay. Assuming that that Easter was April 7th.
Yeah, then April 6th.
Okay. Your Honor, I just have a strip here reflecting that on the board.
All right?
Okay. And Danny was brought over the next day?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And Your Honor, I have a strip just reflecting the next day.
All right?
Now, showing you what has been marked as defense H and I for identification. Do you recognize these two pair of shoes?
Not particularly. I mean, they're probably my brother's shoes, but I didn't really pay attention to what they were wearing.
Well, you've seen them before your mother's arrest, hadn't you? You knew your mother had those shoes, didn't you?
No.
Yeah. So when was the first time you saw those shoes?
That my attention was called to these shoes?
Yes.
At the last trial.
Okay. Now, that would not be the kind of shoes that you would call appropriate dress to send children to school in, would you?
No. No, this isn't appropriate. I don't think.
That doesn't appear to be a new shoe that just has a loose flap on it, does it? One with the hole going through?
This one, no.
Your father was a very meticulous dresser, wasn't he?
Yes.
Okay. His suits were custom made,
I don't know that.
and his shirts were custom made.
I don't know that. I know he had his name in I know they were monogrammed. I don't know if they were custom made.
Okay. And as you indicated, when your mother set fire on his clothes were fairly important to him. He liked to dress very nice.
Yes, he did dress nice. Very nice.
And he had a lot of suits.
Yes.
And he had a lot of, and he liked to keep his shoes looking new. When he started getting old at all, even with creases in them, he'd get new shoes. But
Oh, no. I assume so.
And your father would wear, when he went out, would usually wear a silk tie in his coat and would wear a boutonniere in his lapel. Is that correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the relevance of the uncovered dress.
Overruled. Mr. Early, they have been our foundation for the shoes. The record's unclear as to what they are. You said a pair of shoes. It appears
Oh, I'm
to be a
sorry.
single shoe.
We have, and I'm sorry, Your Honor. As far as Exhibit H appears to be a Nike white with red striped tennis shoe, high top,
White shoe.
boy shoe, mid top.
Go ahead.
And defendant's eye for identification appears to be a super, or at least that's the label of a shoe that's boys tennis shoe with Velcro.
Thank you.
When You talked about the time when your mother used to talk about divorce and ask who you were going to go with. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And you used to tell your father you were going. Did you used to tell your father you were going to go with him?
He said you don't have to answer that.
Did you then?
I think I told him, Dad and I didn't talk about it that much, but I think I did tell him once that I wanted to live with him.
Just one time you told him that you wanted to live with him?
Yeah.
Do you remember talking about the time that your father moved out of the house on the rental home? Do you remember talking to your mother about hating her, not wanting to live there?
No.
Did you ever tell your mother that in the presence of other people that your father had the money and you didn't have to listen to her and you didn't have to stay there?
No, I never said that.
Okay. You remember when your mother was put into custody from a courthouse sometime in 1987?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember going over to her house the evening that she was put in custody?
No. I had her car though. I don't recall what I did.
Remember having a party at her house the night that she was put in custody?
No.
Remember about that time you weren't allowed over her house?
Why not?
Do you remember that? Remember any time when you weren't allowed over there?
No. By whom?
By your mother.
Well, she'd say don't come back, but maybe she said that the day before. I don't remember.
You and your mother used to have fights about you coming over her house and taking her clothes, isn't that right?
Yeah.
And you used to have fights about you coming over there with friends when your mother wasn't around, and friends would, or at least the accusations were, would raid a liquor cabinet, isn't that right?
Yes, she got mad about that. Yeah. I don't really know if that happened, but she said that my friends did that.
And there were arguments about you coming over her house a lot and basically taking all the food out of the house or having it all eaten. There was arguments about that, whether it was true or not. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay. And there was never a time where your mother told you that that you were not allowed at her house without her permission?
No. Wait. Maybe she said that. I don't remember.
Now, when you were living at the rental house, after your father moved out, your mother was quite upset, was she not?
Yes, she was.
And she was very upset not knowing how she was going to live, wasn't she? Where the money was coming from?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained.
But was she saying that? You talked about.
She was upset. I don't know exactly if it was upset about money, but she was upset.
Now, you indicated that your mother always had plenty of money. Is that right?
Objection.
When?
That misstates the evidence.
Overruled, you can answer that.
When are you referring to? Since they were separated?
Yes.
Yeah, she had money.
You said that she had lots of money, never went without, didn't you? So wasn't that your opinion?
Because she never went without money. No, it did not seem to me that she was broke. She had money. She wasn't broke.
Did you know that when your father left the home that there was no money in the savings or checking accounts?
I don't know if my... Sorry.
She answered it. She don't know.
I don't know of my father's financial conditions at all. I have no idea what he did with money and how much he made or anything.
Well, wait a minute. When your father and mother were married together, was it your father's money, your mother's money, or was it both money? What?
Objection argumentative, Your Honor.
Ask her if she knows.
Do you know? Did you consider it to be your father's money?
When they were married?
Yes.
No, I did not.
Okay, so when he moved out, checking and savings accounts, obviously on that day would have been both of theirs, right?
Right.
Do you know whether there was any money in the checking or savings account?
I don't know about anybody's financial situations.
Now, when you were living at the
dang it. When Travis and I first got married, the girls were teenagers. And the oldest one would ask me financial questions. And she would say, I'd say, none of your business. And she would say, well, Mama tells us. I said, well, I'm not your mama. That's none of your business. I'm not going to tell you about my finances. You don't need to worry about that. I will pay for you what I need to pay for you. You don't need to worry about how much money I have. I will take care of it. Kids don't need to worry about their parents' financial situation. If I have the money and you need it, I will get it for you. End of story. Why do kids need to know about their parents' financial situations? It's ridiculous. That is part of not being an adult. You don't have to worry about money. That comes with adulting. Money. Worrying about money and finances comes with adulting, and it sucks. Enjoy not worrying about money when you're a child.
Well, you indicated your mother always seemed to have plenty of money to spend. Your father did too, didn't he?
Right. But I wouldn't know amounts or anything. It just, how it looked to me. I mean, I know how much Mom was awarded in alimony, but that's only from court hearings. I don't know anything about that.
Well, you've related some conversations or some words your mother would use about your father, some language. Would she just do it in a vacuum, or would she talk something about finances that was going on where she would swear?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're asking me.
Well, you've related that your mother would talk in negative terms and use bad words with your father, about your father.
Yes.
Was it always just in a vacuum, or would sometimes she come from a court hearing and she would relate what happened in the court hearing and she'd use the bad words as talking about what happened to her in court as well?
This is true. In this family, the kids couldn't avoid knowing about money because that was all she talked about. I can imagine her loudly going around saying, oh, he's only giving me this much money, blah, blah, blah. So different situation in this house.
Well as using those words.
Both times she used those words.
Okay. And sometimes she would get her a letter in the mail that would precipitate the use of the language that you described. Is that correct?
She called them that all the time. No matter, yes, if she got a letter, then she would talk about them and talk about the letter in those terms.
So when you talked to us about your mother using this inappropriate language all the time, you had no idea what was going on in court, did you?
Sometimes, not all the time. No, I did not.
And when you had it sometimes, where would you get that information?
From Mom and Dad.
Okay. And you've indicated that it was your understanding that visitation throughout the operation was always a court-ordered visitation, as far as you know. Is that correct? Do you remember testifying at the last trial that you couldn't believe that your father would set up the visitation without a court order?
I said he wouldn't do that?
That is, was it your belief that there could not have been a court order prior to 1989 for visitation? That it was your belief that it had been set up by the court?
I just know that there was visitation. I know it was set up by the court at some time. I might have said that.
Your father, in these conversations you had with him about whether the boys should be there, he never told you that he'd gone to court and gotten an order in 1986 that denied your mother visitation, custody, or the right to talk to any of the children?
I think I knew about that order, but we didn't obey it.
Well, sometimes your father would say the order and say that you have no right to visit. Isn't that right?
How long a period of time is this?
The order was in July of 1986, and it was changed until January of 1989.
Well, I think that that's wrong.
You do? And where do you get that information? Is that something that your father said your mother's lying, there's court-ordered visitation?
I had thought that there was a list and they were supposed to sign up on the weekends that they wanted. I don't know if that was court-ordered or not, but that was my understanding on what they were doing.
And so when you had this understanding that your mother was being outrageous about the visitation, it was based on the fact that you thought that there was some kind of schedule that she had some control over.
My understanding was that they were supposed to, each of them was supposed to fill in the weekends they wanted. I don't think that ever was completed. I don't think they both ever filled that in, but that they sent one, and then I think Dad filled in his. I really don't know what happened with that. I thought that there was an understanding. I thought that they had, I don't know, through the court or just the two of them, but I had understood that there was visitation before January of 1989.
And sometimes your father would let your mother talk to the children, call on the phone, and then other times he wouldn't. Isn't that right? He'd put the answering machine on so she couldn't get through.
Right, that's right.
Now, there was a series of calls that you listened to that you said that you knew that they were your mom's voice, the messages that we played here for the
Yes.
jury. Remember those?
Yes.
Remember there being the first three messages all relating to why don't you check with my plans for the weekend before you just drop the kids off?
Do I remember hearing them? Yes, I do.
Do you remember your mother having a job and everyone being dropped off without any notice when she was supposed to go to work?
Do I remember that happened?
Yes.
I've heard since that had happened, but I don't think I was dropped off there. I might have been at school already or something.
So that message that you heard where she is upset because the kids have just dumped off, you weren't there that day?
No. No, I don't think so.
Okay. Do you know
what year that is or anything?
Do you know what year it is?
I have no idea.
And you, where did you hear that it interfered with your mother so that she couldn't keep her job?
From Mom?
Okay. And when did you hear that?
Whenever this happened, I remember her saying that.
But did you understand why? Did you know that that there was no court-ordered support for some period of time after your father left your mother?
Did I know that? Yes, I did.
Okay. And do you ever remember testifying that it was your belief that your mother always had court-ordered support?
I don't think I said that. I know that I thought that they agreed on her getting $9,000 a month, and then once it was court-ordered, then she got $16,000 a month.
Did you know that your father was fining your mother without any court sanctions, just taking money out?
When she vandalized the house, yes, I do. Because he said he was making repairs in the house.
Well, you also knew that he was fining her for using what he thought was inappropriate language.
Yes.
He wasn't asking the judge to fine her, he was doing it.
I don't know that, but Mom told me that. I mean, I think he did that.
Did you know that at least one month she owed him $1,500 instead of getting any support, she owed him $1,500?
She told me that then. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. Now, you, when you were living at the rental homes, there was a lot of rats there, wasn't there?
Yes, there was.
And there was enough rats that you could hear at night, you'd be woken up by the traps going off.
My bedroom was in the back. I didn't hear traps going off, but I'm sure there were traps going off. There were rats in the house.
A lot of rats.
Yeah, pretty many.
And there would be times when you'd hear people screeching because a rat was running across it, wasn't there?
I don't remember, but it could have happened. There were lots of rats.
Okay. And you remember that your mother was calling your father and trying to get him to come back over and do something with the rats because the children were upset?
Not particularly, but that probably happened.
father was a fan of Donald Flynn, isn't that correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
I'll make an offer of proof, John.
I'd like to.
I'd like to hear it too. Come on up.
Now, it's your recollection that that Lee and Rhett were brought over a couple months later, sometime late in the evening, is that right?
About 8, I think, around 8 or 9.
Okay. And at that time, your dad was not home,
No,
so it was just you and Danny who were home.
right.
Okay. And you know where your father had been?
No, I don't.
You remember what day of the week it was?
No, I don't.
Do you remember it being a Sunday?
No, I don't.
Do you remember your mother going to New York?
Yes, she went to her dad's birthday party.
Now, when you were brought over to your father's house to live, you thought it was inappropriate for your mother to have you live with your father. Is that correct?
No, I thought it was inappropriate for her to single me out and kick me out of the house.
So you wanted to stay with your mother?
Well, I thought if she didn't want the children that she should handle it differently and maybe talk about it rather than pack up and ship somebody out.
Sometime after the homicide, did you ever tell somebody that you felt it was your job to come to court and tell a different story than your mother was?
No, I did not.
Did you ever say that there was a need for a different version to come out than your mother was giving?
No, I said that Mom wasn't telling the truth and that I was going to have to go to court and testify because Mom wasn't telling the truth. That's what I said.
So it's, you felt that that was your function to come in and tell what the truth is that correct?
Not my function, but if no one else was there, then, and I'm the only person who would know, then I assumed that I would have to come in and do that.
Do you remember being asked at the prior trial about whether your mom and dad usually went into another room for their fights, when there was fights in the home?
Yes, I do.
And is that true?
After they would start fighting, then they would go into the room. But some fights, like at the dinner table, those were in front of us.
Now, you indicated that your father's way of responding to things was your mother was violent, but your father wasn't violent. Your father would kind of be meticulous about what he did. Is that correct? You don't remember your father having violent reactions?
To us. When he was dealing with...
Well, you remember your father being violent around the home, didn't you?
When he would get fed up with things, but didn't have that temper with us.
Okay. For instance, when he got mad at a lawnmower, he destroyed it with a hammer, is that right?
Yes.
And when he got mad at a motorcycle, he tore it apart and threw it down a canyon, is that correct?
No.
Well, he did break it up, didn't he?
I don't know what he did to it. He was in the garage, he made a lot of noise, he was screaming and yelling, and then it was gone. I don't know what he did with it.
You remember him throwing, one time when he was up in the bedroom with your mother, a closet door being ripped off the closet, thrown out the balcony, don't you?
He was not up there with my mother.
Well, he was up in the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. And you remember him taking an aquarium and throwing it out a window on the ground, is that correct?
No, I don't remember that. I wasn't there for that. I heard about that.
Okay. And you've heard about him kicking the dog when he was mad?
Yes.
And you at least heard about him, or some allegations about pushing Rhett down a stair?
I heard Mom say that. That's the only time I've heard that.
Well, didn't you testify that Rhett got in trouble for saying that, and your father was saying it wasn't true?
I know Rhett told Mom that, but I don't think that happened. I heard Rhett told Mom that. I didn't hear him tell her.
Well, didn't you testify at the last trial that Rhett got in trouble for saying that to your mother?
I don't know. Did I say that?
Did you? Do you remember at any time saying that Rhett got in trouble for saying that to your mother?
I don't know. I could have said that.
Well, did Rhett ever get in trouble for saying that you can recall now?
I don't know about that in particular. If Rhett would tell Mom stuff that wasn't true, he would get in trouble. I don't know.
Now, do you remember in showing you what is a dress labeled K for identification, do you remember the rats eating at the clothes in the house?
Rats eating the clothes at the rental house.
Rental house.
No, they didn't eat my clothes.
Do you remember eating clothes that were hanging up in your mother's closet or problems she was having with them?
At the rental house?
Yes.
I thought that was at the Calle del Cielo house. I know somewhere that the rats ate her clothes, or moths ate her clothes, or both.
And did the boys ever, sometimes when your mom would yell and scream about your father, was it ever have anything to do with them going around with clothes that had holes in them?
When she would yell and scream about Dad?
Yes.
Probably, among other things. I don't know.
Stop there, and now we're going to go from California to Florida and watch the matriarch mastermind murder trial. And this will redirect you, so we're going to head right over there. Let me write the timestamp down. She's got about another half an hour in her first part of her testimony. Man, this poor child. She did not want to testify in the second trial if Court TV was going to be there, and the prosecutor told her she would try to talk to Judge Whalen and not have Court TV there, and apparently she was unsuccessful. Good for us, bad for Kim. I feel so sorry for her. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely unacceptable. So, I will see you guys in the next stream. Thank you for coming out. We will do more of Kim's testimony in the morning at 8 o'clock. I will see you all then. If you're not going to join us for the live trial in Florida, if you are, you will be redirected, and I will see you in a few minutes. Bye.